Hello, and welcome to Gladiodrome, the official podcast of the Deep State. Opinions expressed herein are not our own. Rusty is not here today. I believe he's been human trafficked out in Las Vegas. I intend to buy him back, but it's just going to be me today, because we haven't done this in a while. First off the bat, there was an interesting quote from Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman from, I believe, Texas, who, honestly, big fan of her, very entertaining. She came out and said that, we need to basically not use the Dominion voting machines in the upcoming election because Trump is going to hack them. And it's like, okay, so now they're hackable. Because I was assured that these were the most secure things ever, are the voting machines that connect to Wi-Fi. That, like, wasn't Fox News sued for like $1 billion, or $900 million over saying that, like, hey, maybe these Wi-Fi connected voting machines might have issues. But moving on from that, our next story, Jasmine Crockett. She is recently under fire from a Fox News report detailing that she spent, I believe, in the year of 2025, $75,000 on luxury hotel rooms and transportation, and $50,000 on private security, despite wanting to defund the police. Honestly, this rules. Like, she's one of the few people that understands, like, in the grand scheme of things, that's really not that big of a deal, and you will work better if you're doing it in comfort. Like, give her it's what, $125,000? That's like 4 hours of, like, Nancy Pelosi trades. Come on. Like, let her get that bag. And to repeat, she spent $50,000 on private security despite wanting to defund the police. I'm a fan of this. I really think she has the right idea here, because basically, now this really gets not only to the zeitgeist of the time, but also to something that I think a lot of people just aren't brave enough to say, but Jasmine Crockett is, which is that if you're not willing to personally pay for private security, you should live in Tarkov. It should be a fucking freak show of murder and debauchery. So her hotel expenses include $4,175 at the Ritz-Carlton and $2,304.79 at the Luxury Collection. Other hotel expenses include $5,326 at the West Hollywood Edition in Los Angeles, $1,173.92 at the Times Square Edition in New York City, which really isn't that bad, and over $2,000 at the Cosmopolitan and Aria Resorts in Las Vegas, as well as $2,703.14 to the Edgartown Inn, and $3,160.93 to the Coco, both in Martha's Vineyard. Those last two, I think, really could have been cut. I don't think she needed to go to Martha's Vineyard. Additionally, Crockett's campaign paid Chicago-based limousine service Transportation for You $2,728 for travel, as well as $2,310 to DCA Car LLC, a premium car and limousine service, as well as $1,254 to Bay Area Limousine. She has the right idea, folks. Like, if you're a congressman, that is at the point where you can reasonably be traveling by limousine anywhere you go. That's not even that much money. Like, the reason that I am a fan of Jasmine Crockett is that she really embodies something that I am a big fan of, that I will forever kick myself for not being able to really take part in, which is massive PPP loan fraud. Remember under the Biden administration during COVID, the Paycheck Protection Program, those were apparently just handed out to anyone. Now, I have a great deal of admiration for the bravery and ingenuity of those who managed to really rip that program off so badly that, we're still paying for it, as evidenced by the fact that my merch store is called DodgeHellcat.llc. But, I was a fucking idiot. I actually ran a legitimate electronics company at this point, but I was like, oh, well, I don't have any employees. It's a sole proprietorship. I can't get a PPP loan. This is specifically to protect my employees' paychecks. That, I was a rube, folks. I could have fleeced that shit for $800,000. 5% chance I'd ever, even be followed up on it. Let's move on. the German actress Uschi Glas recently, so this is someone who's a German actress, born in 1944 during an interesting period in Germany's history. Big fan of Israel, big fan. She wanted to kind of figure out if she had any Jewish ancestry, which, judging by the time, gonna say no. But she did those DNA tests, and what she instead found out is instead of being Jewish, that her father was in the Waffen SS. Now, I have some questions here. Your father, you found out that your father was in the Waffen SS. See, what I would have assumed is that if I was born in 1944 and my dad was German, I would have at some point asked him, "Hey, Dad, were you in the SS?" And so what this kind of implies is that either A, she never thought to ask, or B, she did ask and he was like, "Nine, I was doing nothing." And she believed him. Because I looked it up. She was raised, like, it wasn't like, her father died at birth or something, she never met him. No, she was raised by him. And then she publicized that information, which is, like, I think that she probably, like, I'm gonna call Illuminati on this one. I'm gonna call humiliation ritual. What next? Let's see this. So, Trump has been floating the idea of 50-year mortgages, which is really kind of a, that's getting to the point of, like, a simulacra of any kind of actual financial instrument. Because, like, folks, they're raping the money. The money's getting raped. The money's getting touched on. They are doing things to the money that can no longer even readily be identified as sex. Like, they're doing things to the money that they would need a new N hentai tag for. Also, shout out to the antagonist for that one. He came out with that one. He will be on an episode, and potentially future episodes soon. I just wanted to get this one rolled out while I was in the zone. They're going to do stuff to the money that the money won't remember until it's 30. They're doing Mick Martin preschool things to the money. Like, and I mean, they kind of have to. They need to crash the economy, or else people are going to be focusing on our next topic, which is, not Jeffrey Epstein, UC San Diego. We've got some more stuff. So UC San Diego is a University of California school. Yeah, I believe it is currently the 6th highest rated public university in the country. Well, something that just came out showed that now, it basically was data from their remedial math program. 1 in 8 students, up from, 1 in 100 5 years prior, is now taking the University of California, San Diego remedial math class. But the problem that we have reached is that students are now failing the University of California, San Diego remedial math class. Like, this is a question in a college class that 25% of the people taking it, and bear in mind that this is a full 1/8 of the student body, so what would that be? 1 in 32 people at the University of California, San Diego, the number 6 rated public university in this country, will get the following question wrong. 7 plus 2 equals 6 plus blank. Now, in case we have any University of California, San Diego students here, the answer is 3. Because 7 plus 2 is 9, which equals 6 plus 3 equals 9. 5% of the people in this class are mathematics majors. I'm going to just take a brave stance here. I don't think that this is the best use of the number 6 rated public university in this country. And now, not to get too Steve Sailery here on the most right-wing, left-wing podcast, or the most left-wing, right-wing podcast, depending on how you're looking at this. But it is honestly very, very, very funny that the state of California banned the practice of affirmative action and then immediately turned around and said, like, okay, we're just gonna burn down all of our universities. We're going to just absolutely destroy 5 of the top 10 most academically respected public universities in this country because the alternative would be letting in the fair number of Asians. So yeah, stick it to those Chinamen. Anyways, we're going on to Epstein now. The Epstein Mossad reveal. I know, shocking, right? So there's a lot of hubbub on Twitter recently following basically the Congressional House Oversight Committee releasing a tranche of, I think, 23,000 emails that were taken from the estate of one Jeffrey Epstein. And many of them are just basically outright him being like, oh yeah, I'm spying for the Mossad. Oh yeah, I'm doing blackmail for Israel. And to anyone, like, the fact that this is even still debated is just like okay, so for the Mossad crabs that are listening to this, for the Unit 8200 people who are harassing me on Twitter, except for when I post pictures of my mezuzah, like, I need you to listen to me here and understand this. Like, continuing to deny it at this point is just, all you are doing is convincing everyone else in the world that Zog is real. So, like, it's not like it's gonna change anything. Everyone who cares already knows. Like, it's been obvious since he started dating fucking Ghislaine Maxwell. Her dad was Bob Maxwell, the Mossad agent. Like, fucking come on. But, there has been shockingly little coverage of this in the New York Times or any other mainstream news article, or news outlet, but, whatever. What I want to do now, however, though, is pull up some of the more entertaining Epstein emails that have been included. Because there are some really good ones. There are some very, very funny ones. So, we're going to get into some of these emails now. The first thing to note is there are a lot of these. There are a whole lot of these. I believe there's 23,000 of them all in total. And they're still kind of being sifted through at the moment. Next is that, holy shit, Epstein is bad at spelling. Like, phenomenally bad. I will be pointing out misspellings as they arise. Now, this email is one of the kind of most interesting ones that I've found thus far. It begins with a man named Robert Gruski emailing an article about Alex Acosta to Steve Bannon. Alex Acosta, if you remember, was the person who was quoted as saying, I was told not... I believe he was the South Florida District Court, or Southern District of Florida DA, who reportedly said, I was told not to touch him, he belongs to intelligence, with reference to Epstein. So, Gruski sends an article about Alex Acosta to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon forwards this article to Jeffrey Epstein. This is Jeffrey Epstein replying to Steve Bannon. Subject, Alex Acosta, update 1 Powerline. Do you know Bill Barr, period, CIA, period? Okay. Next up, we have one from Reed Weinberger, who was one of Jeffrey Epstein's emailing Jeffrey Epstein an article about Pizzagate, just with the phrase, "Do you have anything you want to tell me?" All right. Now, something that's unbelievably irritating about trying to sift through these is how much of this is just, either poorly scanned or garbled, or, like, the amount of just data rot and just random, like, gibberish and corruption, like, glitches in these emails is fascinating, because they're emails. They shouldn't need to... Like, it looks like a poorly digitized ebook or something. But... And then also, the other part is that a lot of this is still classified or redacted. But this appears to be an email from White House counsel Catherine Reumler to Epstein with the subject line, "Did you see this? Privileged redacted." And then it's an article that's, plenty of innuendo, but no hard evidence of new Clinton sex scandal, blah, 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 from BuzzFeed News. Jeffrey E. Epstein wrote in response, "Number?" To which Catherine Reumler's response is redacted fully. Following this, Epstein replies with, "How did Musk call go?" To which Reumler replies, "Well, I think, but not because of me. The existential crisis thing is not a PMS or menopausal pose." So, okay. And then it includes 6, 8, 7, 9. Jesus Christ, did I go to UCSD? It includes 9 attachments that are not included, because these are just text copies of the emails. Okay, here's an interesting one. This is from G. Maxwell to Jeffrey E. I wonder who those could be. Subject, no subject. The content of the email is just privileged redacted the Terramar project. Okay. Alright, so this next one is actually very interesting, because this is an email that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Thomas Landon. It starts out with a link to people.com for an article about Harvey Weinstein hiring private intelligence agencies to spy on his accusers. And he says, "The same boys that represents, presumably Harvey Weinstein, who makes totally fabricated claims regarding Gore and Clinton, boys' clients, he refuses to ask them their version of events. They were never on the island, and though she gave details of a dinner, I have never, ever, ever met Al Gore or his wife. Boys is going to be in the fining line from the biz view he represented Hank Greenberg, AIG. His fees were never paid as the appeals court overturned the win, but AIG as an insurance co, phone only." So that sounds like nonsense, gobbledygook. But Thomas Landon replies, "I am more interested in Al-Walid / Saudi Purge / Jared axis. Al-Walid and Prez go back a ways, don't they?" They're talking about Al-Walid bin Talal, the guy who, and I actually just made I made a documentary on this that definitely nobody got mad at me for the way I released it. Al-Walid bin Talal was the guy who owned the upper floors of the Mandalay Bay. He's also a brother of Mohammed bin Salman. Also, depending on your take on things, may have a little bit tried to have MBS assassinated. Also, I mistakenly said that he was tortured to death in Saudi Arabia. He was actually just tortured severely. I need to go back and re-edit Contact for Information to include that fact. He did not get tortured to death. He was only just tortured severely for months. Khashoggi got tortured to death. So Saudi Purge has some interesting connotations there. Also, Jared, considering that allegedly, definitely, Trump sold the Saudis nuclear secrets for like $1 billion via Jared Kushner, allegedly. Definitely. To this, Epstein wrote, "As they are both bulk shitters." In response, Thomas Landon wrote, "Did your Saudi friends survive the purge?" Jeffrey Epstein replies, "All, with God's help." Smiley face. Then the next day, regarding boys, voila, and it's a link to a New York Times article about Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, David Boies. And then, unclear to me why he is getting involved with you. Another fully redacted Terramar Project one from Gmax to David Indike. This next one is a hell of a read, so bear with me. So this is from Jeffrey Epstein to a man named Mortimer Zuckerman with the subject line, Thoughts. Out of respect and love for my former girlfriend, I have tried to keep her out of my mess. She was never questioned or subpoenaed. Her name never surfaced. Marie never contacted her. I thought it right as a friend to protect her name. However, during the entire time, she was my serious girlfriend. She traveled with me almost everywhere, each house, and is on the plane many, many times. She knew and remembers, and then blanks out, MI equals. I think that's just like a data glitch or something. She never saw anything that she can confirm, one. Wait, so she... maybe MI equals... Is MI an acronym? It says MI equals she never saw anything that she can confirm. And then it follows with 1. I was never alone at the house. Staff, friends, etc. No girl ever complained, not once. 2. Jane Doe 1 and 2 were local strippers that would call all the time asking if they could do massages. They left message after message. 3. We had a serious love relationship. I had promised her not to involve her in my story as it was so sordid. She was 22 to 24 at the time. 4. She has photos after photos showing we were together. 5. She knows Clinton was never on the island. 6. She knows no sex with Stephen Hawking. She knows no sex with Ehud, as he was also never on the island. 6. She is 38 years old now and presentable. So what? This would have been... Okay, so if she's 38 in 2015, let's do the math here. That would have been like what, around the turn of the millennium? 7. She would acknowledge that these girls asked to bring their friends. Many of their best friends sat in the kitchen while they gave massages outside on the terrace. In parentheses, no sex. J. They certainly looked overage, never heard anyone say otherwise. Jeffrey never asked for underage, that is crazy. 8. Min answered the phone, served coffee. There were many massage people, men, women, aged up to 60. Real freak. Those gilfs and Gdilfs. So we have 2 more, and I think that we're gonna just go by saving the best for last. January 9th, 2015, Jeffrey Epstein wrote, "The storyteller crafted much of it out of whole cloth. Part of her story is that she was at multiple orgies with Clinton, and specifically the minute dinners of a detail she had on the island with him. He sat on my left, came by black helicopter, flown by Jelaine. Clinton was never, ever there, never. It punches a hole in the Dershowitz, Andrew allegation, making all apparent that it was fantasy and delusional. Thoughts? Who should break the story?" Landon replies, subject, off the record. "Let's have a chat. You do need to fight back somehow. Present evidence that she is lying and show the world that you are no longer that guy. You have made changes, and that this is the past." My sense is that it's the TV type thing where you just talk honestly about this, present evidence that it's not true, / focus on what you've been doing for the past 5 years. Is it true or is it not? Charlie Rose, but you can't just sit there taking punches like this, especially when the British tabs are driving this. Maybe you go on British TV. Call me anytime. Guys, it's not true that I was a pedophile. Also, I stopped. And then, finally, this is, I think, arguably the funniest one. It starts with Epstein emailing a man named Boris Nikolic a Vanity Fair article with the title, Notes on New York's Oddest Couple, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell by Vicky Ward, which is, as you might imagine, not positive. To which Boris Nikolic replies, "What is this? When will this stop? This is crazy, and you are not 57, winky face, and certainly you are not socially awkward." Who is that idiot? Boris. Folks, it's good to always have shooters. Anyways, if you've listened this far, make sure that you're subscribed to Flesh Emulator, the channel that this is on, or maybe I'm going to put it on the Flesh Simulator channel. If you're not subscribed to Flesh Simulator, how the fuck are you even listening to this if you made it through an entire podcast without knowing who I am, or you've been unsubscribed by YouTube? Make sure that you're subscribed. I have a Patreon link in the description. I also have cryptocurrency addresses if you want to give me free money. Yeah, I would like that. Also, if name who else you want on the podcast. This is the end of the podcast. Goodbye.